Good Tuesday afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well out there and have had a good Tuesday so far and continue to have a good Tuesday as we make our way into the evening hours. We've got some model guides to go over today as we're tracking some potential winter weather over the next, couple of weeks. Also have an interesting system ongoing right now across the areas of the Ohio Valley that we're going to go over. So we're going to get into it right now. Like this video if you like it, subscribe if you've not done so already, and please leave a comment down below where you are watching from. I would greatly appreciate it. So here's, per usual, here's our satellite for throughout the day. You can see the sun kind of come up and then it sets. You can see snow on the ground in these northern areas. You can see it setting. It doesn't really look like this from space. This is just the satellite's interpretation of it, but you see a lot of moisture kind of down in here. A big belt of moisture here. And there's an overlay. I can do this where I press this. You can see our jet stream overlaid here. See that low up there? That's kind of what's involved with our system. You see these little X's? Those are disturbances. So out in front of those and the upstream areas, or the downstream of these X's, let me say it right. Downstream of these X's, you can have lift. So that's why we have some snow possible. We even have some severe storms. So let's get into that now. Here's the latest loop of precipitation. It might like glitch for here we go. Yeah. So we're gonna start off to the south and east or south and west and move up. See these cells rolling through here? These are sub-severe or severe. Particularly this one right here had a tornado warning or two on it a second ago. I think they've dropped that, but yeah, this was not expected from the Storm Prediction Center. They have a broad thunderstorms risk today, but kind of a rain bomb moving through areas of the deep south right now and moving its way east. And then obviously you see some eye candy up here, right along the Ohio Valley, pretty similar to modeled here. We've got some pretty heavy looking snow making its way into areas of Kentucky and into southern Ohio as well as West Virginia. So we'll continue to watch this, but this is a decent event for you guys. This is the upper low is up here. You can see some lake effect stuff working off here, as well as some light snow showers. Nothing else really to speak of. There's some energy back here diving down, and we need to watch as this moves into the mountains. You see some freezing rain beginning to show up in this pink. So as it moves in, it will get into the higher elevations, and the air is colder, so we might get some frozen precipitation. I live down here where my cursor is in the upstate of South Carolina. It's 49 degrees right now. 49 degrees. So not going to get any winter precipitation like that. But we'll continue to watch this. Here's our watches, warnings, and advisory. You see that severe thunderstorm warning down there? You see it says tornado possible. It was tornado warned a second ago, but that's not of much focus. Here is all of the winter-related stuff here. These are special weather statements for winter precipitation. This is obviously our winter weather advisory. I think in a very good place here. It's hard to tell where states are. This is maybe a little bit better. But yeah, southern Ohio, areas of Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia. So yeah, this is a now thing. Obviously, it's ongoing, and you're still getting some. And here's some other stuff. What is this for? I'm curious. Black ice. So they might issue something. I wouldn't be surprised if they issue some sort of maybe special weather statements or something in this area by maybe even later this evening. But I don't know. This is our latest. So we're not going to go over that. I am going to briefly. It's going to kind of throw the flow off a little bit. This is the radar loop of that cell. This is it right here this is rolling through areas of Texas. So you can see from these white things overlaid, this is our surface pattern. So there's air being brought up from the Gulf here, some warm air. Say near this storm, it's near 70 degrees. So yeah, it's warm down here. And it's rolling off. So if you're in areas of southern Texas, watch out. I mean, these storms back here north of the Houston area, watch these because these could well turn severe anytime now. I just got home from our co-op, so I don't know of anything too crazy. But this is our velocity. We have some rotation here. You can see this from our inbounds, these greens, and then our outbounds like this. That would mean that there's rotation being seen here by the radar. So yeah, something to watch there. Nothing too crazy by any means. So we have to switch back to the browser here, and we will continue our way on. Here, we're going to go over this event for North Carolina and Virginia. So we're going to start this off with the Euro. per usual. This is the 12Z. This is this morning's run. These are going to all start tomorrow afternoon. And you can see, I got to click on it here. There's some snow breaking out in areas of Virginia. This has gone a little bit further north with the snow, I will say. You see areas of moderate to heavy snow showers making their way through far northern areas of North Carolina and areas of Virginia. Maybe even into the Tidewater. Don't know about the northern extent of this. And then some mixing precipitation further to the south. Very light stuff, guys. Not anything to be worried about. Or do not get your hopes up for getting like lots of snow from this. There might be some areas that see a couple of inches, but the National Weather Service really doesn't call for it. Maybe some backside snow, but then it moves on out. That is the Euro. Here's the GFS. And it's a little bit more aggressive with the moisture. It has been consistently. But as we're getting into the overnight hours on Wednesday into early Thursday morning, we see snow just in areas of North Carolina and Virginia. It quickly breaks up, moves to the south a little bit, and then it is done. So the GFS is kind of a nothing run for some of these areas. So before we look at snowfall graphics for this, we're going to take a broader look and look into the future a little bit right now. So this is the European model, and we're starting this off Thursday evening. This storm is just moving offshore down here. So what do we start to see? You can see by these blue dotted lines on your screen, that is the upper air pattern. You see some sort of trough, and it's kind of digging down to the south. And then associated with it is moisture. I got to reload the page. Here we go. I don't know why it reloaded back there. I apologize for that. We'll start it here. So you see this clipper, this snow coming down from Canada. That is associated with a lobe of energy. The polar vortex literally has broken off and it is moving south, and it has this attached to it. So some pretty cold snow here, very powdery, dry stuff. Really the areas most highlighted for heaviest snow is areas of Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. Maybe even down into the Virginias, or West Virginia rather, and Kentucky. I don't know. The latest Euro has brought this further south. This is the run before that, so there's some southward take with this maybe into the southern Appalachians. Kind of breaks up as it hits the Appalachians, gets some northwest flow snow. All that is as the wind is really getting going in the mid levels, several miles up in the sky, it rolls over these mountains and they're a disturbance. They're kind of in the way. So they get some turbulence. It's called vorticity. They get that going, and you can get some clouds to form, and they start raining. And of course, it's cold enough that it falls as snow. But you see a surface low kind of tracking up through the northeast, and then it goes out over the ocean. And we'll have to see where this goes. The latest Euro just takes it straight offshore. The run before this, or several runs before this, have brought it further up towards Atlantic Canada. So I have to watch that. But either way, not anything huge. Afterwards, where do we go? Some kind of clipper action here. Do you see these red dotted lines? Let me draw on this a little bit. This is getting out about 10 days from now. You see how these red dotted lines kind of go like this, ever so slightly, more so as you go down here, because you have a ridge spiking up from the Gulf all the way up into areas of Canada. That is suppressing our storm track to the north, or in the very least, it's making our storm track kind of go down and then or up and then maybe back down a little bit. So kind of like that, as opposed to like this or just straight. So that is what this ridge is doing as we move 10 days from now. And you can see some snow. We need to watch this. This is day 12. Days maybe 10 to 12 and 12 to 14. It's 10 to 14 or so. There's some stuff riding along the top of this ridge we do need to watch. This will be a pretty moderate snowstorm for areas of the upper Midwest and far eastern high plains. But am I saying that's going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen just like this necessarily. This has continuously showed up. This is Saturday the 14th. You see that low kind of cuts through areas of the Mid-South and then into the Mid-Atlantic. That's some very heavy snow getting going in areas of the Virginias and to Maryland. And now if we take this back a second to like this frame here, this is Friday evening, and look at our surface temperatures at this time, it's in the 60s. And as you just saw at the beginning of this video, there can be thunderstorms when it's this temperature. So this is not really the greatest look for when it comes to severe weather. This could be a decent looking severe event, but this is over 10 days from now. So we need to watch that. Get the mouse off your screen. But that rolls through. And then there's some clipper action, and the end of the run looks like this. So we have a few events between now and the next 16 days, but most of them are suppressed to the north, and the only one I'm seeing consistently was this one that kind of cuts across the country about 12 days from now on the 14th. So it starts, in over areas of Texas, get some rain going, and you see these areas of red show up. That would be heavier rain, thunderstorms possibly getting into, Friday evening, Saturday, early Saturday morning, and then obviously it moves east. So this is Saturday at about 7 a.m. So this storm is very, very fast. And in about 12 hours, it just moved. I mean, this 12 hours, it goes hundreds of miles. So very quick, but definitely because it's of its forward speed, it could get some thunderstorms going and some sort of squall line. So we'll have to watch for that. And that is the end of the Euro. How about the GFS model? Starting this off at the same time here. Clipper dives down. I think this could be a pretty aggressive shot of cold air as well as some pretty heavy snow. This is, again, Ohio. You see how there's a green in there? I don't know if we'll have that. That might just all be snow, but getting into areas of the Ohio Valley, areas of the Northeast, getting that northwest flow type of snow going in the southern Appalachians, breaks up a little bit and then takes that surface low offshore and then just straight off. It doesn't run it up into Atlantic Canada. That is a difference from yesterday. But again, we see these things happen. There's another clipper, kind of gets a surface low going in Iowa and then dives south. You get some snow going in the Ohio Valley again. So this is one right after that. Maybe, see this? We need to watch this. If this happens, areas of North Carolina and Virginia could get in on some snow. So watch that as it rolls through. This would be, I don't know. I mean, about a week. Think about just about a week. Next Monday or so. We move this on. Some rain. There's something. This is the 12th. Again, I'm telling you guys, between the 10th and the 14th, something happens. The pattern looks similar. This will be an overrunning event where, our surface temperatures are kind of cool, moderate. Our mid-level temperatures are too warm for snow in some of these areas, which is why you get a bunch of freezing rain. We had an event like this several weeks ago, or rather, I'll say it this way: it wasn't several weeks ago, but it feels like a long time ago. And it was a pretty decent ice storm for a lot of people, a crippling ice storm for millions of people as well. Get some rain in the deep south, and here is getting into Saturday. So the GFS dropped this. This is getting into Saturday, and there's a low and there's rain. Now, we have this look. That is what we call a nor'easter. This is kind of almost a Miller B. It doesn't start the low offshore. It starts it over land, moves it out over the water. This is let's see. This is 13 days away. So about 2 weeks from now. Big surface low off the coast. And then, areas of the I-95 corridor. This is very, very heavy wet snow. Moves up and looks like a classic look. But this is the GFS at 300 hours. I mean, we can't trust the GFS at this range, especially when other models don't show it quite like this. But you switch to rain in Atlantic Canada. That tells you how amplified this is. But going back a second, if this frame here is like Saturday morning, we have a surface low and moisture down in the deep south. So it's a similar thing to the Euro, just not quite as put together. That rolls through, and then we're getting out towards the end of the run. There's another big overrunning event way out in no man's land. I mean, that's a huge storm system. So we need to watch that. How about the Canadian? Starting this all at the same time. There's that clipper. I mean, the Canadian does get some in North Carolina, very little. And then there's a second, kind of on the same boat as the GFS. Gets a secondary clipper, takes about the same track. And then what? This is getting into the 11th and the 12th. There's another surface low. I'm going to draw on this for a second. All three of these main global models show that in this area, we have a low that develops. And then it goes either up like this, kind of straight across, or then down and kind of up like that. Obviously, the track of that low is important, but all three of them show it. And as far as I know, I haven't looked at the latest for our AI guidance. We're going to get to go over that together. But they probably show it too if I had to guess. I might eat my words in a second. But this is 210 hours out, about approaching 10 days, 9 days. And then it kind of makes its way into the northeast. Nothing about this is gospel, and this is the end of the run. We have some sort of low down in the deep south, uh, and areas of the southern central plains that who knows where it would go, right? So there is the Canadian. Now, here we get into our AI guidance. This is the latest Euro Ensemble, and here we go. I'm starting this off for the secondary event in possibly North Carolina, Virginia. Getting into Wednesday evening, there's some mix. The Euro AI really, really likes the idea of having a corridor of sleet or freezing rain with this. I don't really know if I buy that, considering that our other global model guidance does not show it like that. But it's still model guidance. It has something, but not really a whole lot of snow for North Carolina. It's really just a Virginia thing. There's this clipper, dives pretty far south. There's even snow in North Carolina with this. And yeah, let's see. This is getting into the 10th, the 12th, and we have something. This is technically getting into the 13th. Look at that surface low down there in like Oklahoma, and look at how sprawled out this moisture is. It's a huge system. But there's a lot of stuff going on between the 10th and the 14th or so. So, yeah, it shows something. That is the Euro AI. Not going to get too detailed, not going to zoom in. This is just what we got right now. How about the GFS AI? Here, we're starting off at the same time. Get some snow going, maybe in the southern Alps, areas of far northern North Carolina, but really it's a Virginia thing. And then it kind of drops out, but this is really, really light snow. Moves offshore, some rain. Here's this clipper, and does not get any snow into North Carolina. I'll say it like this. North Carolina, if you're watching this, you're like, oh, we have a chance. You really don't. This is just not a big thing for you guys. You might see some snow flakes falling from the sky. This is not going to be something that really accumulates. As of right now, could change. Still have time to change that. And then see a low here. This is the 10th. So both of our AI models show something earlier, getting the 10th into the 11th. And then, for example, this is the 12th. So it's a little bit faster with that system, but it does show it. It also takes it really, really far north. And then right at the end of the run, you have some moisture making its way into areas of the Mid-South, the Ohio Valley, the Eastern Central Plains. So who knows? That's out there about 10 days from now. So snowfall-wise, here we go. This is the latest the European model. Don't know why I just stuttered there. That's interesting. We have some snow. This is from this morning, so this kind of picks up on that event, but really don't focus too much on this. Focus areas further to the south. I mean, there is now a 3-inch snowfall signal here in areas of far northern North Carolina into Virginia. Do I think you're going to see 3 inches? I don't know. The National Weather Service doesn't like that idea, but there's plenty of snow here to be had if it does happen like this. But, even a little area of snow down into the Raleigh-Durham area, down maybe, Winston-Salem, High Point, about an inch. But as you go east, it really does drop off. But there is something. I mean, these are 3/4 of an inch of snow, and I mean that makes the ground white. That's not enough to do anything with, but it does make the ground white. So there's that. And then let me take it out. Let's see. This is through the time of that clipper. You can see how this area up here really fills in. So a few to several inches can be expected across a lot of these areas. This is not the most reliable way to forecast, or the most responsible way. I'll put it that way. But we've got, I mean, this is the Euro. I trust the Euro a good bit, but the I-95 corridor still stays pretty dry. Really just areas of the Great Lakes, Midwest, all that. Up into the Northeast, but Maine, I mean, you're still dry. But this is not the whole run. Let's take it out to the end of the run. So this looks a bit different, obviously, but really, areas that don't typically see snow, like down in here, the southern and central plains, the deep south and the mid-south, through the end of the run don't really have anything. That's because we have some sort of ridge. I'm telling you, I think that will be the dominant pattern. And you can see how it's areas further north, but lower in latitudes on both sides, because it kind of, our energy dives from the south, dives north, and then goes back south. And we'll go over that with the pattern in a second. But yeah, I mean, there's not anything crazy about this. You might see, oh, there's so much color. But like areas of the Northeast, you guys get these clippers and lake effect snow things all the time. But I mean, for example, this showing up with 15 inches in areas of West Virginia is not necessarily normal, but you get just repeated clippers. The I-95 corridor, at least the southern areas of it, still stay dry through the next like 16 days. So not a lot of hope. I mean, this takes us out through the 18th. This is getting into middle late February. So I mean, if you're in areas of the South and Texas, all these deep South states, this isn't a great look for us. But winter's not over yet. We have another half of February after this, and we could wake up tomorrow and this looks way different. I don't think we're going to see that, but we could. GFS here. If you're attentive, you'll know that this is not the latest run, but the 18Z has not run enough yet. So we're just going to use this. Again, this includes the event ongoing. Don't focus on that as much. Just kind of focus down here. I mean, there's areas of Western Virginia with 1 to maybe 2 inches. And it kind of highlights the same area as the Euro does, although it's a little bit further west, um, Hickory up to Boone, North Carolina, in these counties here could see inch or 2.5 inches. But it's the same story. It kind of drops off of the eastern extent, although there is some sort of mean here, some sort of snowfall signal a little bit further south. But we're talking like hundredths or tenths of an inch, not really anything notable. And then let's figure it out here. This should be through the clipper. Yeah. So it fills in, although it's just more aggressive with the moisture, as it seems to have been consistently here. So it's a few to several inches, not like 1 to 2, maybe 3. This is up to, there are areas here with about half a foot of snow. And a lot of the same areas, the Midwest, the Northeast, areas of the far eastern high plains, and a lot of areas here. But you'll still notice areas of West Virginia. You guys could get hit here with some pretty solid snow. So that's possible. And during this time frame we have a pretty aggressive clipper dive down, and then we go a little further. Let's just take it to the end. So again, I mean, this looks a little different, but not really. You could draw the same pattern on here as we did before. We have some sort of high. Don't worry about what that looks like, and then our ridge goes like this. It just is suppressing everything north. And you might be looking. Let's zoom in here. It's the areas of the southern Appalachians. I mean, areas of Asheville with a lot of snow. That's northwest flow driven stuff here, mainly. And obviously, you see this area in North Carolina, and you're saying, oh, 5 inches. But that's not a reliable way and a responsible way to forecast. But areas of I-95 corridor definitely light up here. This would all be from that like kind of nor'easter thing. I mean, look at what this would have dropped in areas of New Jersey if it happened. That's 2 feet of snow. So I'm telling you, if we get some sort of system here that kind of rides this way and then up the coast, obviously, I mean, this is the Northeast is known for these nor'easters. And if this were to happen, 1 to 2 feet of snow could fall in some areas. Don't get your hopes up here. We'll go over this more. I'm going to click and see if the latest run has anything. Yeah, okay, so it's enough. But see how this area is down? It's because we're not within that time frame yet. But even with the latest run, it looks pretty similar. Although, let's bring this back. Yeah, never mind. I was going to say, filled in. This is the latest run for the areas of North Carolina. It looks very, very similar. So, nothing notable there. And obviously, areas out west, it's really just, it's so driven on where you are in your own state. So I recommend you know where you are on a map. That's how I'm going to lead with that. So here's the Euro Ensemble. We don't have all of the 12Z, but I think we have most of it. This is the footprint. Again, areas up to the north, don't focus on that as much, but areas of Virginia, North Carolina. I mean, there's the Euro Ensemble still showing a little over an inch in areas of northeast North Carolina. Could we see it? I think so. I think your ceiling in all of North Carolina, for example, is about 1.5 inches. I don't think you could get a whole lot more than that. But for a lot of you guys, I'm sure you're hoping and praying I'm wrong. So maybe I am. I don't know. 1.5 inches showing up over here. This is really along the Appalachians. And then again, a few hundredths, maybe a tenth or two further to the south. So could we see flakes in South Carolina tomorrow into Thursday? Yeah, we could. But I don't really expect anything major. Now, let's see how far out. It goes 360 hours wise. So, yeah, here's our run. You can kind of draw the same thing in here. There's nothing really significant further south. And this is the Arrow Ensemble. This makes up 51 different members. So it's going to look smoother. It's going to kind of bring some of this gray color further south because some runs show it, but it's going to average everything out. But do you see this right here? I don't know what system specifically would have driven all of this, but this could well be from that kind of GFS type scenario where there's some sort of low that rides up the coast. So keep an eye on this. This is the entire run. It just finished processing. So yeah, this is not for areas of the south. It's not a great look, but we have time to change this. Really trust me when I say that. This right here is the National Blend of Models. And since it initialized at 19Z today, it is not showing much of anything else up here because this is kind of done with. So you can notice areas of North Carolina are really like dry. I think the National Blend of Models has a dry bias. I think it typically just seems to be drier than it ends up being. But even that being said, it really is just a Virginia's thing. Maybe into Maryland, some areas, but this is not really worth noting. Just a very, very small event. Now, we take this through the end. These are our clippers, few to several inches, maybe half a foot in areas. Did you see this though? I mean, that's a lot of snow just offshore. Now, when did it happen? Pretty early. So that's interesting. That would not be from that big clipper. This is the full run. This does not go through that kind of all of our time frame. It goes through the 14th, but the GFS was showing something just after that in some of these areas. So who knows? GFS could be onto something. I don't think it really is, but maybe it is. I don't know. It's hard to tell at this time. So here are our graphics for the snowfall events that we're kind of expecting to see. This was issued at 4:15 p.m. It is now 5:50. So this is relatively new. Let me see if we have an update here. I do have an update. So, oh wow, I'm glad I showed you this because it really dropped off. So yeah, as of this update, this is how much snow. Really, a lot of this has already passed. So in like these areas, you guys are mostly done. So let me know in the comments if you live in this area, how much you ended up getting. Areas of West Virginia here still set to see maybe a few inches of snow. And then, so there's that. Not really much to talk about there. And let me reload this as well. So I'm going to click range here because I think it's important that we do so. I mean, trace to as much as an inch across areas of North Carolina and Virginia. There's this little area, this was not here yesterday, of darker blue showing up along the Virginia and North Carolina border. So I mean, that takes you up to 1, maybe 2 inches locally. I think 1 to 1.5 inches is your ceiling, and your floor is nothing because it might just be too warm. You might just end up getting rain. So there's that. Just what it's worth showing you. Now, pattern time. We're gonna go over the latest here. I'm gonna kind of zoom to fit this better here and get everything framed. There we go. So this is the Euro Ensemble, the latest run of it. And what we're looking for here is our pattern. I'm going to back this up. I hate when it does this. I got to click back on it here. I reload the page. Here we go. So we're going to start this off a little bit further back. It's getting into Wednesday evening. This is the mid-levels, 3 to 4 miles up in the sky. And this is our height anomaly here. So these reds, this will be a ridge. This is warmer air and more stable conditions. These blues are cooler air, troughing. And they literally, for those of you who've never seen this before, they resemble what they are, a ridge and a trough. I mean, that's think about like a feeding trough. And then a mountain ridge looks like that. That's where they got their names from. Anyway, some just basic knowledge there for you. Getting into Wednesday evening, you see this area of blue. This is what will be driving some sort of system that goes across the U.S., bringing some possible snow to North Carolina here. And then, do you see this? Probably not, because it's hard to see. This little circle right here, watch where it goes. It will dive down to the south like that. Watch it. Watch how it kind of dives south, meets up with some other energy, and goes boom out over areas of the ocean. But this is just really, really cold air. I think we'll go over that in just a second here. Very, very cold air possible with this. And areas just to really the northeast. You can see a ridge is starting to make its presence known. Everywhere else in the U.S. except the northeast, really. And as we're getting into this weekend, into the first few days of our upcoming week here, so about a week from now, you see this pretty strong ridge making its way into the central areas of the U.S. This is a warm up. This is not a torch. This is not going to be like 80 or 90 degrees in the Dakotas or anything like that. This is maybe 60s as much as 70s in areas of the deep south. This is not that warm, but it's warmer in comparison to what we've been getting. We finally hit the 50s today at my neck of the woods in the upstate of South Carolina. We haven't seen 50s in what feels like forever. So I will take a warm up. I will be completely honest with you. And then this ridge it breaks down a little bit, moves east, and then completely erases itself. This is the 13th. So like, for example, looking in here for our system that we could be tracking in the 12th time frame or so. Even though you see these reds, this ridge, it doesn't mean nothing could happen. When you see this blue over here, that means our energy is western U.S. based. So it kind of goes like this, hits the Rockies, and then it has to go somewhere. So with a ridge pattern like this, it's kind of going to dive up and over. That's why areas of the deep south just stay so dry throughout this entire thing. But we move this on, and you see some troughing start to take back over as we're getting towards the end of this run here, about 2 weeks from now. And even you see a ridge start to work its way back in. We might see that, I don't know, but here's some actual troughing. This would be 13 days, about 2 weeks from now. And so, who knows? You see how up in the polar regions up here, up in areas of far northern Canada, the high latitudes, they're connected by blue down all the way to the U.S. That's a cross-polar flow. So it literally just could bring the cold air from up there all the way down to here. So it could be a cold time. So let's look at it. This is starting off tomorrow morning. And you see this area of cooler temperatures. This is our temperature anomaly, so above or below average. And as normal, when I talk about this, I'll say that it's February. And across every single area of the U.S., you don't need these temperatures to be that cold on this map. You don't need them to be very below average to be very cold. Keep that in mind. But you see this area of blue and purple making its way east. And up here, and north of the Great Lakes, you see this area of blue. Watch where it goes. Kind of dives south, and this has really moved itself south with the last run. This was the run before. So, well, that doesn't prove my point very well. But, yeah, I mean, see how... Yeah, let me go back several runs. Like, in yesterday's video, we were looking at, say, this. And now it's kind of shifted its highest, rather, its coldest temperatures down into areas of the Ohio Valley and interior Northeast. So something to watch. It's kind of moving here or there, but these are pretty cold temperatures. This could be dangerously cold. This is maybe as much as 20 degrees below average. And say you're up here in the Northeast and your average daytime high temperature is 40 degrees. That means you could see as much as 20s as your daytime high, which means your night would be really, really cold. So there's this. We need to watch this. And it breaks down. You see this area of red start to enter the entire, pretty much all of the U.S. except for the Northeast. This is, again, even though these values look warm, there may be as much as like 12 to 15 degrees above average. That's not going to get you that hot. But even the Northeast is finally surpassed here. We get some warm air. And then what? Well, I mean, the latest Euro Ensemble run really doesn't cool us back down, even though our upper air pattern does. So we stay warm through the end of the run. So this is the opposite pattern temperature-wise that we've been seeing forever. We have some sort of, based off of this, we have a trough up there and a ridge over here. So ridge, trough. We have the opposite pattern. This has been switched to where we had ridge, trough. So we had a ridge out west and trough out east, and that's what's been driving our storms it's been a very active period of pretty severe winter storms. But we lose that. At the end of the run, it looks like this. So we could possibly have an extended warm period, maybe a thaw for a lot of these areas. I mean, our nights still get cool, but that's that's that. And we'll go over this. This is still out in no man's land. This could change, and it has. But yeah, that's the latest with that. I'm going to go back here to this. We're just going to end on this. So yeah, I'm telling you guys, if you're in Texas, just watch out for some severe weather and enjoy this snow up here. It's leaving Indiana now. Ohio, you're starting to be done with this, and just pay attention to Virginia as we're making our way into the evening hours. Pay attention to northern Kentucky and West Virginia as we move into the evening. So that is all I have for you guys today. I appreciate you guys watching. Tune in tomorrow at some point. I'll have a video out for you guys just going over the latest information that we've got. And as always, stay safe, stay dry, stay warm, and of most importance, stay happy. And I will see you guys in the next one.